Ambassador Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the viewport of the diplomatic vessel Olive Branch, watching the alien space station grow larger against the star-filled void. 27 years she'd spent negotiating peace on Earth, from corporate boardrooms to war-torn nations, and now humanity's future rested on her ability to extend that same hand of friendship. Across the cosmos, the ship itself told their story better than words ever could. No weapon systems marred its sleek hull, just communication arrays and docking ports designed for peaceful contact. The cargo holds carried gifts instead of ammunition, recordings of Earth's greatest symphonies, samples of literature from from every culture, scientific data freely shared, and art that captured the human soul in color and form. Even the crew wore civilian clothes, their only insignia the blue and white emblem of United Earth's diplomatic corps. Final approach to Hegemony Border Station 7, announced Captain Torres from the bridge. His voice carried the same nervous hope that had followed them through 3 months of hyperspace travel. Everyone aboard knew what this moment meant. First contact with the Korthok hegemony could determine whether humanity joined the galactic community as friends or faced them as enemies. Dachin had studied everything available about the Korthok through intercepted transmissions and long-range observations. The hegemony controlled 47 star systems through military might, their expansion leaving a trail of conquered worlds and extinct civilizations. Species that submitted became slave races. Those that resisted simply disappeared. From galactic records, their warrior culture viewed strength as the only virtue worth possessing. Diplomacy as a tool used only by the weak to delay inevitable defeat. Yet Chen believed in the possibility of peace. Every species had to have some capacity for reason, some desire for mutual benefit over mutual destruction. Her career proved that even the most hardened extremists could be reached if approached with genuine respect and understanding. The hegemony had never encountered humanity before, never seen what true diplomatic engagement could accomplish. The docking proceeded smoothly. Korthok soldiers in powered armor escorted Chen through corridors lined with trophies from conquered worlds. Skulls, weapons, and flags from dozens of extinct species decorated the walls like a museum of galactic genocide. The message was unmistakable. This is what happens to those who oppose us. Commander Vorthok received her in what could only be described as a throne room. The massive Korthok stood nearly 3 meters tall, his chitinous exoskeleton scarred from countless battles. When Chen offered the traditional greeting of her people, extending an open hand in friendship, Vorthok's mandibles clicked in what she recognized as contempt. "Your species sends a female to negotiate surrender," Vorthok rumbled through the translation. "Device, you understand your position then." Chen maintained her diplomatic composure despite the insult. "Commander, I come not to surrender but to propose mutual cooperation. Humanity offers friendship, trade, cultural exchange. Psst. We believe our species could benefit greatly from peaceful coexistence." Vorthok's laugh was like grinding stone. Peace. Cooperation. The words of prey animals who lacked the strength to fight. He gestured to the trophy wall. "Every species has offered us peace. All believed their words could save them from their weakness." For 3 hours, Chen presented humanity's case. She showed recordings of Earth's cities, spoke of human achievements in science and art, offered technological exchanges that could benefit both civilizations. With each word, Vorthok's contempt grew deeper. To him, her very presence confirmed humanity's cowardice. What warrior species would send negotiators instead of warships? "Your people disgust me," Vorthok finally declared. "You approach the hegemony with empty hands and weaker words. You will serve as an example to other prey species who mistake our tolerance for weakness." Chen's final transmission to Earth was brief but clear. "They don't understand peace. They think we're weak. They're going to kill me to send a message. I'm sorry I failed you." The execution was broadcast across hegemony space as entertainment. Commander Vorthok wanted every species to witness what happened to those who dared approach the hegemony with anything less than total submission. What he didn't realize was that quantum entanglement communicators automatically transmitted the signal to Earth. ensuring that 7 billion humans watched their ambassador die for the crime of offering friendship. That night, something awakened. In humanity that had been sleeping since their last world war, something patient, calculating, and utterly merciless. Admiral Marcus Kane stood before the United Earth Council as emergency sirens wailed across Geneva. The holographic display showed Ambassador Chen's final moments on repeat, each viewing stoking the fire that burned behind his steel-gray eyes. 40 years of military service had taught him that peace was a luxury afforded only to those prepared for war. "Gentlemen, they've made their choice," Kane announced, his voice cutting through the council chamber's shocked murmur. "For 3 years, we've maintained the illusion that humanity was defenseless. We've hidden our true capabilities behind mining operations and research stations. We let them believe we were weak." The display changed, revealing the Solar Defense Network in all its terrifying glory. Hundreds of installations disguised as civilian infrastructure suddenly showed their true purpose. Asteroid mining platforms revealed themselves as kinetic bombardment systems. Research stations opened to display antimatter production facilities. Cargo vessels shed their false hulls, emerging as fully armed dreadnoughts. "Project Damocles is now active," Kane continued. "Every human colony, every space station, every ship beyond Earth's atmosphere has been a weapon waiting for activation. We hoped Ambassador Chen would make this unnecessary. The hegemony chose otherwise." Council President Martinez leaned forward, his face pale. "Admiral, surely we can find another diplomatic solution. One death doesn't justify." "No." Kane's laugh was devoid of warmth. "One death? Mr. President, they broadcast our ambassador's execution as entertainment. They wanted every species in the galaxy to see what happens when you approach the Korthok hegemony peacefully. Now they're going to learn what happens when you murder a human diplomat." The tactical display expanded, showing human settlements across 50 star systems. Each point of light represented not a peaceful colony, but a forward operating base that had been establishing supply lines and intelligence networks for years. Humanity's expansion into space hadn't been exploration. It had been the largest military deployment in galactic history, disguised as civilian migration. "We've been mapping their infrastructure for 18 months, Kane explained. Every trade mission, every cultural exchange, every accidental encounter with hegemony forces has been intelligence gathering. We know the location of every military installation, every supply depot, every critical system in their empire." The revelation struck the Council like a physical blow. Humanity's peaceful expansion had been cover for the most sophisticated military reconnaissance operation ever conceived. While other species saw humans as naive newcomers to galactic politics, Earth's military had been preparing for exactly this scenario. "Our doctrine is simple," Kane stated. "Other species fight for territory, resources, or dominance. Humans fight for survival, and when survival is threatened, we fight for extinction of the threat. The Korthok hegemony has declared war on our species by executing our ambassador. They will not survive that declaration." Kane activated the fleet mobilization protocols. Across human space, civilian vessels shed their disguises. Mining ships revealed missile batteries. Transport vessels deployed fighter squadrons. Research stations became command centers for coordinated strikes across multiple star systems simultaneously. "Admiral," Council President Martinez asked weakly, "what are you planning?" Kane's smile was predatory. "Operation Thunderbolt. Simultaneous strikes against every major hegemony installation within range. Not to conquer, Mr. President, to annihilate. We're going to show the galaxy what happens when you kill a human peacemaker." The transformation was complete. Ours, humanity had evolved from peaceful diplomats to the galaxy's most dangerous predator. The hegemony had awakened something they couldn't comprehend, a species that viewed total war not as an extreme measure, but as the natural response. To existential threat, Commander Vorthok would soon learn that humans didn't just fight wars. They ended them permanently. *. Operation Thunderbolt launched at 0600. universal standard time across 12 hegemony systems simultaneously. What the Korthok expected to be traditional ship-to-ship combat became something from their worst nightmares. Human vessels didn't engage. In honorable battle, they released clouds of self-replicating hunter-killer drones that swarmed through hegemony formations like metallic locusts. The first engagement at Korath Secondary revealed humanity's true tactical doctrine. Hegemony battlecruisers moved into formation, expecting the humans to meet them in direct combat. Instead, human ships launched asteroid-sized kinetic projectiles from beyond sensor range. The impacts created miniature supernovas, vaporizing entire fleets before they could fire a single shot. Communication. Intercepts from Hegemony Command painted a picture of growing panic. "They're not fighting like warriors," screamed one transmission. "They're exterminating us like vermin." Another desperate message pleaded, "How do you fight an enemy that turns asteroids into weapons? How do you battle ships that never come? Close enough to see?" At Vorth Prime, human forces demonstrated their mastery of biological warfare. Engineered viruses, tailored specifically to Korthok physiology, swept through military installations within hours. The pathogens didn't kill immediately. They incapacitated, leaving hegemony forces helpless as human boarding parties. Methodically destroyed every piece of military equipment. The hegemony's technological advantages meant nothing against human. Tactical innovation. Their superior shielding couldn't stop nanomachines that ate through hull plating at the molecular level. Their advanced sensors couldn't track human ships that used quantum stealth technology. Their powerful weapons couldn't hit targets that coordinated attacks. Their instantaneous quantum entanglement networks. Commander Vorthok watched his empire crumble from his flagship above Korath Prime. In 6 months, humanity had accomplished what no enemy had managed in 3 centuries of hegemony expansion. They weren't just winning battles, they were systematically erasing the Korthok military from existence. "Status report?" Vorthok demanded, his mandibles clicking with barely contained rage. 17 systems lost, sir," his aide replied, voice trembling. "Complete loss of contact with all forward positions. Enemy forces are adapting faster than we can respond. They're using our own supply lines against us, turning our infrastructure into weapons." The siege of Korath Prime began with humanity's most terrifying demonstration yet. Human ships didn't bombard the planet, they surrounded it with a sphere of interconnected mining drones that began systematically dismantling the planet's moons. The message was clear: surrender or watch your homeworld become raw materials for a human industry. Intercepted transmissions revealed the psychological impact. Korthok soldiers, bred for warfare since birth, were abandoning their posts rather than face human forces. The species that had conquered 47 star systems, through superior firepower, was learning what it meant to face an enemy that fought, not for conquest, but for complete elimination of threats. Admiral Kane's broadcast reached every remaining Kazamoni installation. "You wanted to see what humans do in war. You killed our ambassador to demonstrate your strength. This is our demonstration. Surrender now and face trial for war crimes, or continue fighting and face extinction. You have 12 hours to decide." The response came not from Vorthok, but from fleeing hegemony civilians broadcasting on emergency frequencies. "We surrender. Please stop. We surrender." The warrior race that had never known defeat was begging for mercy from the species. They had dismissed as weak prey animals, but humanity had learned a harsh lesson about galactic politics. Peace through strength meant ensuring that threats could never rise again. The hegemony's surrender would be unconditional, permanent, and absolute. The siege of Korath Prime ended not with bombardment, but with systematic occupation. Human forces landed on every major continent simultaneously, their soldiers moving with mechanical precision through cities that had never known defeat. The Korthok population, bred for warfare across generations, offered no resistance. They had seen what happened to those who fought the humans, and survival instinct finally overcame warrior pride. Commander Vorthok's trial became a galactic spectacle. Representatives from dozens of species attended the proceedings on Luna Station. Watching humanity demonstrate a concept foreign to most civilizations justice through due process. The former hegemony commander faced charges of genocide, war crimes, and the murder of Ambassador Chen. His execution by neural disintegrator sent a clear message across the galaxy: harm a human diplomat and face the consequences. The dismantling of hegemony military infrastructure took 3 months. Every weapon, every ship, every installation capable of supporting warfare was systematically destroyed or converted to civilian use. The surviving Korthok population found themselves relocated 2 designated worlds under permanent human supervision. Their warrior culture, built on conquest and subjugation, was officially extinct. Admiral Kane's final report to Earth was brief: threat eliminated. Hegemony military capacity reduced to 0. Estimated human casualties, 437. Mostly from accidents during rapid deployment. Time elapsed, 8 months, 2 weeks. The ambassador has been avenged. The Galactic Council's emergency session convened on Centauri Prime with humanity's first official invitation to join as a voting member. The chamber fell silent as Ambassador James Mitchell, Chen's replacement, entered wearing the same blue and white diplomatic insignia that had failed to protect his predecessor. But everything else had changed. Honored delegates, Mitchell began, his voice carrying the quiet authority of a species that had just redefined galactic warfare. My predecessor came to you in peace. You killed her. You understand what happens when you choose war with humanity. The assembled representatives, Altarian traders, vegan philosophers, Centauri merchants listened with the focused attention of prey animals studying a new predator. Humanity had accomplished something previously thought impossible: the complete destruction of the hegemony in less than a year, Mitchell continued. We prefer peaceful coexistence. We value diplomacy, cultural exchange, and mutual prosperity. But we no longer offer these gifts twice. Harm a human civilian, attack our vessels, or threaten our colonies, and you will face the same fate as the Korthok hegemony. Trade agreements materialized overnight. Species that had ignored humanity's previous diplomatic overtures suddenly discovered urgent needs for human technology, human protection, human friendship. The irony wasn't lost on anyone present. Ambassador Chen's death had achieved the galactic acceptance she had died trying to obtain. The memorial to Sarah Chen was erected in Earth's orbital capital. It's visible to every ship approaching human space. The inscription read simply, "She offered peace. It chose war. Never again." Below it, a secondary plaque carried Admiral Kane's words, "We still prefer peace, but we no longer offer it twice." Human patrol ships now maintained order in former hegemony space, ensuring that the peace Ambassador Chen had died for would endure. The galaxy had learned its lesson about underestimating humanity. Those who met them with open hands found generous friends. Those who raised weapons found only extinction. The age of human diplomatic weakness was over. The age of human galactic dominance had begun. Asterisk.